Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Neil Haley Show, simulcasted on Your Beautiful Day here on the Gratitude Radio Network. I love always kind of having this collaboration. That's the way we're going to grow this to a level of great shows that involve gratitude. People that are happy, no negative news today on this show, and a great story. So I'm excited to welcome to the program my co-host Pearl Sharenza and Jen Mogg. Guys, again, another great guest, but finally a male. I'm happy for that. We've had all women.
I know, right?
I was thinking I was on The View, guys. What's going on here?
I know. I'm so excited. We brought it. We got a male on just for you, Neil. Right?
Yes, exactly. Thank my producers for sure. But okay, so am I introducing Jen, or you want to introduce our guest?
Oh my goodness. Well, you've worked with him a little bit longer than I have, so I'll give you the drum roll.
No, the drum roll is the Rave. Welcome, independent artist, and he has an unbelievable story coming by. You're in New York City, so you've been quarantined for a while, man. How are you?
Hi, hello to everybody. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Yeah, New York, it's been pretty rough. A lot of people, as I'm sure you've heard, in New York have been going through it, and we've had incredibly bleak moments, especially in our hospitals. But I believe we did beat the curve, and it's getting better. But I don't know. It looks like it's going back up. So we're just trying to stay positive, trying to stay healthy, taking every precaution and all that.
Exactly. All right. So let Jen go with the first question.
Hey, Rob.
Hi.
I wanted to ask, during COVID, I know it's been kind of crazy because if you're creative, it can be, the silence can be deafening. But how have you and your buddies been able to creatively get through it?
Oh man. Well, I could tell you from the beginning, like right when it was announced, or not when it was announced, but it was when it was looking like New York was going to get shut down.
Mm-hmm.
This was around March. I was something about like the anxiety in the air. It just kind of was like enough to sort of spark a lot of ideas, which is great when you're a writer and you just write. And so I was being very productive in that moment. And then, believe it or not, I got sick with COVID. So that wasn't fun. Yeah, it was pretty bad. I did have a very mild version of it, which is good. But even like my only symptoms were body aches, headaches. I couldn't really sleep without pain medication. It was that bad.
How did you know that you had it? How did you get it?
First of all, when you have it, you 100% know. It's 100%. You will know. Because, well, first of all, there was a pandemic on a global scale happening.
How do you know that it's that versus just
right. So
the regular flu.
Right. At first, I just felt very zapped of my energy. So I was thinking, oh, maybe I didn't sleep well, or maybe I didn't have enough nutrients in me. And then as the day went on, I just felt dizzy. I felt very weak. My back was starting to hurt. Like my muscles were not like, it's similar to like the pain you get when you have like a muscle spasm, but not a spasm. And I was just not feeling like myself. It felt like I was having a flu. And so I just laid down the whole day. And the only reason I was able to connect A to B is because we were in a pandemic. So that wasn't any fun. But believe it or not, like I said, despite it was not fun. It wasn't a good time, obviously, but I had it light. Like I had other people in my family who got it, and they lost their sense of smell. They lost their sense of taste. One of them still is slowly regaining their sense of smell, which they haven't gotten back quite yet. They had nightmares. They had diarrhea. That was a thing as well. And I believe I got it from a family member who got it from work.
Did you get tested? Did you?
I didn't get tested because I had it, and then like when I looked into the whole getting tested thing, it basically at the time when I went to get tested, because I'm a musician, we don't really have health insurance.
Right.
But
right.
Is what it is. You choose rock and roll first. But when I went to after I got better, I went to like City MD, and they said that while the testing is free, the lab work isn't, and that is going to require a lot of fees. And so I wasn't at a place where I could afford that quite yet.
Right.
Oh, terrible. And some of
I mean, like, the way I look at it is, it's kind of like Schrodinger's disease, or virus. Like you don't think you must assume that you have it, but but you also must assume everybody else has it so you don't get it. So you're kind of like in this very weird position of not knowing how to interact with people, not knowing how to sort of enforce your own personal space. And it's just a very interesting time. Scary, but it's definitely something I think that the whole world is clearly going through. And it's kind of the one good thing about it, and probably the only good thing about it, is that it, like, literally everybody on earth is going through it all together at the same time.
Right. How long did it last for you?
It was a week of being sick and then a week of just recovering afterwards. Like the
thank
recovery.
God. Oh,
Yeah, it was.
cool.
Yeah, it was very light. Thank goodness I didn't have to go to the hospital or anything. Knock on wood. It's a good thing about having guitars near you. You always have wood to knock on. So it was very, very simple. A lot better than other people that I know. Some people had to be hospitalized. I thankfully didn't have to go through that. But I mean, like, you could still get reinfected even if you were sick with it once. So it's just about being super cautious still.
See, that's an interesting thing you say about reinfected, and that's the problem we're dealing with is, Bill, I got it once, I don't think I could get it another time. No, you can get it another time.
Yeah.
And so you have to be careful.
Yeah.
So the family members, some of them, did they get tested that you think?
They did get tested. I didn't check in with them with it because, like, I believe they got tested a week ago, so I don't think they got the results back. But then prior to that week, they got tested like after they recovered, and then they had the antibodies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's just so weird because, like, so many different people, and this is the scary part, is like, because it's new, so many different people are being affected by it in different ways. Some people are having like blood clotting issues, what's it called, scarring on the lungs. Other people, did you hear about that Broadway actor who had to have his leg amputated, and then he was put into a coma, and then they just had to pull the plug because he wasn't coming back, and this was all COVID related. That was 41, and it was really tragic. It's affecting a lot of people in different ways, and it's awful.
It's bizarre.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
There's no rhyme, no reason. You can't keep up with it.
It's a new thing. Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah. It was very weird. It was very odd. But to answer your question, during that time, there was obviously no writing happening, no work happening.
No hallucinations going, wait a minute, that's a good sign.
No, not even with the medication, believe it or not. There was nothing happening. There was it was just a matter of like recovering, staying healthy, trying to stay alive. But then, like, even during the week after being sick, where I'm just recovering, I was just in bed, you feel lethargic, and the week after that, where you're starting to slowly get your rhythm, I started to see kind of the world around me, and then like the gravity of the situation hits you even more, to the extent of like your professional life. We know what the extent of the damage is on a human level, but then like when you look at it, how it's affecting the music industry, venues are closed, and independent venues that I would love going to on a weekday or weeknight rather, to support local music, they're closed, and they're probably the ones that are suffering the most. Not probably, they are the ones that are suffering the most. And so now it raises the question, will there be first of all, will they be around a year from now, 6 months from now? And if so, when they start opening up, what will the music industry look like, especially on an independent level, where somebody has, and now's the greatest time to be an independent musician, because you can literally take care of all aspects of the operation, by yourself or with a team, and really sort of spearhead the movement however you want. But it's just weird now that like the sort of the world's changed, really. Yeah. So there's kind of no rhyme or reason.
I have one of my business partners right now. Her and her husband's in the hospital with it. Her son has it, and part of what I do at Jen is health and wellness. So we've got them on a regimen. I'm not a doctor. I'm going to say that right now. Anybody's listening, but taking vitamin C 2 caps a day, 2 caps every 2 hours. Vitamin D is helpful.
Yeah.
And even doing some aloe vera. It's been really helpful.
Yeah.
So if you can get that ahead of time, it definitely helps. So glad you're feeling better.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I think I got it in Houston when I was in Houston in December. Because it just feels like it was the kind of same type of thing, and the virus was there before, guys. And there's people that's the thing. But again, I might have gotten again, and I was just when we were really just quarantining, and it didn't hit me hard. It's just hard to really look at these things for sure. Let's kind of now delve into, at least you're better. but again, independent artists are going through such problems.
Yeah.
One of the industries I'm formerly of in the professional wrestling industry, and especially the minor leagues, I stay in touch. When will wrestling shows go on? There's still some, which is crazy, in certain areas of the country. They're doing, even the big ones are. And it's like bands. Some bands are performing in other parts of the country too,
Yeah.
right? Thinking of that. Would you do that in New York? Say, okay.
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, I didn't know you were a wrestling fan, so we got to talk. There's huge stuff happening.
I'm a former pro wrestler.
Are you really?
And I just am in conversations with a professional wrestling organization to be doing a lot of the different things, their media, and maybe even.
That's so cool.
Work.
That's so cool. I say that because I grew up a wrestling fan, but there's a lot of overlap in the wrestling world and the music industry.
I completely agree.
100%. But to answer your question, there's this interesting thing happening right now where I don't know if you've heard, and I don't know if this is a thing that they're going to do in wrestling, which would be kind of an interesting idea, but they're thinking about doing drive-in concerts, kind of like drive-in movies, but it's like a big parking lot, a stage, and people are social distancing by being in their cars. And just
for a wrestling show.
Did they?
Locally, yeah.
There you go. So yeah, I mean, I know of one person off the top of my head who's doing a drive-in concert, and they're doing it in LA. And honestly, like, I'm not going to tell anybody how to, express their music and perform and all that, but like, I don't think that's for me. I don't think I can play in front of a parking lot of people in cars. That's just like, I don't know. There's something really magical when you're in an enclosed space with a group of people, because the audience is just as much a part of the show as the musicians. Same with wrestling. They feed off the energy of the crowd. Like right now with what the WWE is doing with like a closed off set and just having like random stand-ins, it's a good solution for now. It certainly made them change their programming, and it kind of works for right now, but it's not really a long-term model. And the same can be said for music. Like, you need the audience, obviously from a financial perspective, of course, but definitely without question from a artistic perspective, you need that energy and you feed off of it. And I can't really picture myself being able to perform at the best of my ability in an outdoor parking lot where instead of applause, you kind of get honks.
That's crazy. And I think about sports, when now baseball started with empty crowd, and all these sports, they're going to start, especially when I start watching the NBA, when the reason why certain NBA teams win is because of how ravenous the fans are.
Yeah.
Same with NFL, same with NHL.
Right.
Isn't that true? I mean, Jen, think about that. There's no home ice or home field advantage for any sport now.
Yeah.
It's all gone. It's completely gone. I was in a restaurant the other night, and it was a sports bar, and it was nice to have all the sports up. But the fact that the silence is deafening. The silence is so loud, for a creative person like me. But it's to not have the applause when you hit a home run.
Yeah.
Well, you heard what they're doing, Jen. They're going to pipe in the crowd.
Oh man.
Pipe in the crowd. How do you do that?
The ambience.
Yeah,
like at the zoo.
That's not going to intimidate people to think
on our show today, since I'm a little witchy sometimes, and talk about spells and curses.
Yes, ma'am.
So how'd you come up with the name? What happened? Give me the background. I want
the
whole story.
Okay, so in terms of the name, I was basically writing, and I've always been writing music, and I was that kid who, prior to sort of the Spotify, SoundCloud age of the internet, I would record a song, and a lot of times it was kind of jokey, Weird Al Yankovic kind of songs, just to, brighten up your day.
So yeah.
Those are the best sometimes, because, I mean, they could brighten up somebody's mood, and it's a good time. And so I would do that all the time, and I'd send it to friends via email. But then one time, there was one year in particular, it was a span of like a couple of months where I was just going through a lot of like personal stuff where, I left my first serious relationship. That ended terribly. I had to stop talking to certain people because that group of friends wasn't necessarily conducive to leading a better life. And then I also lost a parent, which was pretty bad. It was just a lot of things happening.
Yeah.
That was just very heavy, and I found myself not recording jokey songs anymore. It was just like real stuff, and I would do what I always do, and I'd send those songs to friends, and then a few of them actually wrote back going like, hey, you should probably consider releasing this. And I was like, aha, okay, yeah, funny. And then another friend would send that, another friend would send that. And then I considered releasing it, so I actually compiled it and sort of, I had like at that time maybe 4 songs, and I fleshed it out with more songs that I wrote and that I was working on, and there's kind of like a cinematic feel to the first album. But anyway, the first album was just like me sort of expressing myself just to express myself, and then releasing it. And then from there, at that point, I needed, if I was going to release it, I needed a name. And like I was just feeling very, very I guess in my feelings about certain things, and I just wanted something that I felt could like reflect the music, but also kind of have like a hopeful message to it. And initially I wanted to name the band Curses, because I was just in a very dark place, like I said. So I wanted to name the band Curses. Quick Google search showed me that there was a band named Curses, and I didn't want to do that. And I'm like, well, when I think about it, like these songs aren't necessarily meant to just be curses. They're not meant to like, just mess with your emotions or anything like that. They should also uplift people. People should be able to have the option to, or the sort of license to listen to the music and take from it what they will, whether it's uplifting, or maybe it'll make them, run faster in the gym, or cry harder when they're alone and with a broken heart. And I wanted to give them that license. And so I came up with spells and curses, because I felt music should today, and music all since the beginning of time has always been like a sort of emotional supplement. Like if you need that relief, it's that supplement that the wizard back in the days of Merlin and King Arthur, he'd say, listen to some Tom Petty today, it'll get you through the day.
Absolutely.
We'll give you 2 doses of Led Zeppelin to pump you up for the day.
Yes.
So stuff like that. And that's basically how I conceptualize the music, the art, the whole. I don't like calling it a project, because that makes it so sterile. But like, just that's how I conceptualize spells and curses, as being something that people can take as like emotional, spiritual supplementation when they need it. And so since then, we started found a band, started doing shows, and been rocking and rolling since.
Nice. How long have you been doing this?
Well, professionally, I suppose. I've always been, like I said, writing kind of songs here and there and playing guitar forever. But in terms of like releasing stuff professionally, since 2015, so I guess that's 4 years now.
Very nice.
And yeah, it's been moving well. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I really enjoy your music.
Thank you. That's so sweet of you.
Yeah.
So in looking over your story and how you started the band, I mean, you came through some really traumatic stuff,
Yeah.
and a lot of people, when they come through something like that, they may not come out the way that you've come out, and to empower others and to take what you're doing through your music and let them know, we all have, I talk a lot of times when I coach women, is that, you're going to go through valleys, but the climbing the hill is the beauty of it, because when you get to the top, but you have to take and receive the stuff, the things that happen to us, because they define, how you're going to come up that hill.
100%.
So how do you feel, like, what do you, in regards to also your music, but in coming out the other side, how do you think that's changed your perspective of life?
That's such a powerful question. We're gonna get really into it right now, if you guys want, because
I do.
So check this out. When I was starting to release music, it was just to sort of address like this kind of like black hole of loneliness that I was feeling, and it was, again, I wrote music to like uplift myself, but then in doing so and releasing it to the world, I've had people reach out to me from India, Brazil, Turkey, you name it, so many different parts of the world, telling me how my music has helped them through a dark place, or getting out of a dark spot, some kind of traumatic situation, and they'd personally reach out to me either via email or Instagram to let me know how much. And I'm not paraphrasing when I say this, how much my music has literally helped them through a dark time. And it was so incredible to see. And so one of the things I really like what you guys talk about being grateful and practicing gratitude and how important that is. I 100% agree with that, because were it not for the gratitude that I've sort of been consciously trying to put into my life, especially for something like during COVID, I would have not been able to rise above the difficulty to see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, or a hill to cross over, because it's not so much optimism as much as it is a belief that things eventually do get better and that you do need the lulls to sort of enjoy the highs. And so, like, for example, with COVID, when that was happening, I was pretty upset that I wasn't, like I said, after I got sick, I wasn't really creative or anything like that. And I was pretty down about it. But then I really thought about it, and I still had people reaching out to me saying, like, you know, your music is helping me through this and this and that. And it's like, you know what? Wow, let's take a moment and really examine this. Like, I don't have to do music, but I get the chance to do music.
Yes.
I have the opportunity to work on something that I love, and then I get the opportunity to hear the feedback from people who it has affected and impacted in a positive way. Not a lot of people get that. No. Not a lot of people have the opportunity to see that they have made even the smallest difference. I'm not saying I changed their lives, but the fact that it meant so much to them that they reached out to me was huge.
Yeah, truly.
Was huge. And also going back to sort of like overcoming things and seeing how important it is and how it changes you. Earlier, late last year, I should say, in December or November, I had a family member who took their own life, and that was tough. And it was very, very hard to sort of open up about it because it involves people, real people, family and friends, and you want to respect their privacy, but then you're also going through something too. And it was messing me up pretty bad. And I remember thinking about the bravery that some of the people who were reaching out to me that they had when they were telling me literally their story and how what they were going through. And I felt, man, you know, it would be pretty kind of hypocritical for me not to sort of express this bravery and say that it is okay to, you know, speak on how you feel and the things you're going through, the traumas you're going through. It would be pretty kind of hypocritical of me not to sort of express this and let people know what I'm going through and let them know that it's okay to go through this, and that I imagine I'm not the only one that is going through something like this, through the grieving process of somebody who took their own life. And when I did that, excuse me, I'm getting a little emotional. When I did that, I kind of just like released a very quick YouTube video explaining why I haven't been active on my social media, why I haven't been releasing new music, and why I've been somewhat lethargic. And I explained, you know, I was grieving. I had such an influx of people reaching out to me after the fact, talking to me about either their experience with considering taking their own lives, or how they were trying to move on with their lives after losing somebody to suicide. And it was like a large number of people, and it honestly took me back because I didn't know, and I don't know if people, if this is like a known thing, but like I wasn't personally aware of how increasingly prevalent the issue of suicide is. It affects a lot of people, apparently. I wasn't aware of this.
It affects a lot of people, and
yeah.
I think it's amazing that we're having this conversation on the show. I would like for you and Pearl to talk after the show, because of what's happening in her life with that. And
yeah, it's I have to say, like what you said, you would be surprised. And one of my concerns right now too is with COVID, how many are struggling with that, and
oh, absolutely.
and for you to take your music and put it into something like that to give back. Right. I mean, it's amazing. Like you said, you have the opportunity to take that gift, and that's something that Jen and I talk often about. When I have, I'll be coaching a woman, or I do retreats, and at the retreats they're going, this isn't what I want to do. I'm like, well, then why are you doing it? Let's walk through it. Let's figure out what is it you want to do. Let's do the pivot. Let's get you where you want to go. But like you said, I would love to definitely we'll connect afterwards, because I've got a personal story that's happening. So
For sure, yeah, 100%. Like I mean, whereas my sort of artistic statement before was to express to people that it's okay to feel. My original sort of, like, if I were to describe my artistic message, it was always like, making a better life is the ultimate revenge. Going through a trauma and rising up a better person is like the best way to not only sort of prove your haters wrong, or just to prove to yourself that you did right, but ever since that moment for me, it's also been to show people that there is, it takes courage to want to keep living. It takes bravery to want to know that life will get harder and harder. Yes. The longer you live, and to still want to live and choose to live, because tomorrow might be super impactful, not only for you, but for somebody else. That's kind of been my message. And I'm that's kind of something that I've been very passionate about lately. Can't really do much about it now because of the whole COVID situation, but I am looking into certain ways I can sort of contribute my message and to like amplify.
I'd like to connect you to Mark Miro. He is a motivational speaker.
I've seen that. Yeah, please.
I'm friends with Mark.
Oh wow, he's a cool guy.
So that was one I was thinking as a guest too. I had Mark on one of my other shows I produce, and his story is tremendous. I saw
a speech that he was giving about in a school with his mom, and
that went viral
at the end of it.
But I'm just thinking of Mark when I talk about that. Mark's a great person to talk to regarding that whole thing. But I think that you talk about your music, and you got to be impressed independently how you've grown this in such a short period of time. Explain to them, your listening audience and how you're building it off Spotify and all these different places and building the following.
If I'm, that's a funny question, because like I'm thankful and I'm grateful for where it's at, but I guess it's like, and I'm sure you could probably attest to this, being a person who's sort of building a sort of voice. It's you want to reach as many people as possible, so you're never really satisfied. You're never quite there.
That's why I'm completely like that, and talking syndicators right now.
Right.
Different places, picking up a platform in North Carolina, talking to another person, saying, "How can I get out there even more?" Right. It's all about growth and growing even further. And as an artist, I can see the same thing. As I guess now I'm in the podcasting world, where I've always been in the radio world when I started. And now the television world, because this, I broadcast this on television as well. That all these mediums that, I'm not satisfied. I want more. And I hear that when you're trying to share that.
Pretty much. I mean, like, it's not so much we got to be everywhere. We want to be on this billboard. It's numbers. More. It's not even. It is numbers. It comes down to numbers, but I think it's weighted by the fact that there is a message. There is something that I'm saying that I think people need to know. And it's a dual message of, making a better life is the ultimate revenge, and there is bravery in living. And I think I just don't see enough people talking about it. So when it comes to sort of like saying like, I did pretty good, I can say that as a way to sort of like, to my supporters, being like, hey, you guys are onto something for supporting me, and I appreciate you. Thank you guys. But there's so much work to be done, especially if you're an independent artist. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like how I've been building it, honestly, if I'm going to be really honest with you, there are tactics and services that independent artists can incorporate that'll have you grow kind of exponentially. But I don't want to see, if I like get into specifics, I feel like I'd be calling certain services out, and I don't really want to do that. But like, I feel like the best way that has worked for me is kind of like a personalized approach, where I have control over what the first impression is, what the first sort of image that the person who's just coming across me for the first time will see. And I have like a way to sort of I have like an open line to anybody who hears me the first time. They could reach out to me and they will know that I will respond. They can comment on a YouTube video and know that I will respond. So that sort of openness isn't necessarily the most scalable thing, you know what I mean? In terms of just being able to do it forever, but I can do it now. And if I can do it now, I feel like I should be able to do it now, and I should do it now. And that just comes down to sort of like reaching out to anybody who follows me, saying, thank you, I appreciate you, I see you, and I want you to know that it's not lost on me, your support for my music. And taking it step by step like that, I think it just comes down to authenticity and showing that you're authentic about what you believe. Like if I was doing or singing about something that I wasn't passionate about, or a message that I wasn't passionate about, I don't think people would resonate with it. But also I wouldn't be passionate enough to reach out to people and talk to people about this and have or forge some kind of meaningful understanding with them. So I think because I really do sincerely care about the people that support me, they see that, and that sort of makes them want to support me a little bit more, because I think at that point, like, we're not fan and artist, we're friend and friend.
Right.
Great point.
That's the beauty of music.
I think that's the beauty of all art, even with wrestling. I mean, there's wrestlers that have crazy followings that they can I guess I shouldn't name anyone here either, but like they can say like, meet me at this spot tomorrow. We're gonna have a good time. Even during COVID, you better believe there are gonna be people there. So
True. It's amazing the brands and how to create a brand, and it's great what you've been able to do so far. All right,
Thank you.
Jen, next question.
Oh, I have a question. So
Okay.
you talked about, right, about the drive-in concerts and things like that. And I've heard like a couple, I think I've heard Garth Brooks and them, but they were just going to show it on a screen. I was like, if I want to watch that way, I'll go watch it on TV. That's how I felt.
right.
But somebody like me who grew up in the drive-ins, that's the first time I ever saw the original Star Wars movies was in a drive-thru.
Wow.
Wow.
First time. I'm going to really age myself here. First
That's
time I ever
pretty
saw
cool.
it, I remember it was the coolest thing ever, and the big screen and everything. But I think it would be really cool to go to something like that, and and I get why that's probably not up your up your alley.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not saying it's definitely a great idea. Don't get me wrong. It definitely will work for a lot of people, but I just don't feel like in terms of like my music.
Fans.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my question is, knowing that, what other way creatively right now are you doing with you and the band to kind of like let everybody see you? Are you doing like, I know some people are doing live Zooms or live on, Facebooks and things like that. Is there anything like that you guys are doing coming up?
Fantastic question. So when this whole thing kind of began, the whole COVID situation, everybody was kind of scrambling, not really knowing how to handle this. Understandably so. This is like a very important moment in our history that's going to be in our kids' textbooks, our kids' textbooks. So we were kind of like flying blind. And so one of the things I figured was, okay, let's just kind of wait it out. Let's just keep writing and recording and stockpile so that when things go back to normal, we'll be able to, rock and roll and hit the ground running. Then obviously, you get sick with COVID, that stops your productivity. And then you read articles that say, oh, live concerts might not be back until the end of 2021, possibly 2022, for full capacity. Because even if concerts were to open up regularly, like venues, that doesn't necessarily guarantee that like 1,000 cap venue will be filled with 1,000 people, especially pre-vaccine.
250 probably.
I mean, I can't even, nobody even, how do you estimate that, So yeah, I mean, definitely won't be full. So with all that uncertainty, I started thinking, okay, well, I mean, I really pride myself on sort of going out of my way to connect myself with my supporters, all that. And one of the things I just started doing was doing Instagram Lives. And with Instagram Lives, it's just pretty much hitting up everybody who follows you, letting them know that you're live right now, you're live streaming. And it was just honestly me just checking in on people, seeing how they're doing, kind of talking, and just hanging out. And then from there, I was like, you know what, guys, I feel like we need to have a dance party. Let's have a dance party. And so what I did was I set up a Zoom meeting where it was just me kind of DJing songs and just everybody on the the little screens kind of dancing to it, having a good time. And I'm like, that's fun. This is good. But then I started thinking like, creatively, I feel like I'm kind of like I'm there for them, but I'm not there for them in the way that I feel like I'm best qualified to be there for them, which is through song. And so I was like, I really should do something about that. And during one of my Instagram live streams, I'm like, we're here, we're live, and live from New York, it's your boy, the Rave. And then somebody's like, this is the greatest quarantine night ever. And I'm like, oh, quarantine night live. That's a great idea, quarantine night live. And then I started doing this kind of pseudo show on Instagram Live, had it scheduled, quarantine night live. I have like my well, I don't know if it's here, but I had like these like sort of banner things that I hang up either in front of me or beside me, and just kind of do like fun stuff like that, just to sort of test out live streaming. And then from there, what I did was I basically saw that with Instagram, it was fun. It was great, but the video quality of my phone is not that great, not professional quality, and the mic is okay. But I wanted to like up my game, because if it's one of my goals in life, or promises to myself, I should say, is to never half-ass anything. So if I'm going to really do something, I'm going to do it. And so I was like, you know what, if I'm going to live stream, I should really get into it. So I have a friend who's actually a fairly successful live streamer, and I just picked his brain about it. And long story short, he basically kind of gave me an idea of how I should approach the situation, and just, you know, he's like, he told me, when he told me that I have a leg up on live stream because I am a live performer, so keeping people's attention would more or less come easy for me. I'm like, well, let's go, let's do this. So what I did was, I had a camera, I have like this mic over here, I don't know if you can see that I use. I set a mic up, I have a lighting set up here, and what I did was I set up a kind of a live streaming station, and I started live streaming on YouTube. So I do Quarantine Night Live on YouTube. We're on episode 7, and we're going to be doing that later tonight. Tune in on 8 p.m. New York time. That's 5 p.m. I believe Pacific. And so we've been yeah. Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, every Saturday without fail, I do Quarantine Night Live, and it started off just naturally playing whatever I wanted to play, people tuning in, and then people started requesting songs. I'm like, oh, that's freaking awesome. Let's request songs. And so I'd start playing covers, and then I'd start playing some originals here and there. And then some people started asking me for donations. Like, where can we donate to you? And when that happened, I was kind of like, oh, you guys want to pay me? You're so used to, as a musician, you're so used to having to, like, you know, excuse my French, but eat the quote unquote.
Yeah.
Right.
So when it's like, oh, you guys want to actually pay? That's, wow, I didn't even think of that. And then I'm like, I'll set up a link, I guess. And so I have like a special section in my description for my YouTube live streams where they can donate. And if they donate whatever amount they want, I will play whatever song they request. Like tonight, we have a request for a Whitney Houston song, and that's gonna be a lot of fun. You better believe I practiced that one. And so tonight is Michael Jackson. Tonight is Michael Jackson night, but in the middle there's going to be a Whitney Houston dedication. So it's going to be a good time.
So I have a challenge. I have a challenge for you.
Oh God, let's hear it.
So because of your story, and because people want to pay, why don't you? I think you should do a fundraiser.
That's what I was thinking about. I was totally thinking about that. I've reached out to some nonprofits and some charities about doing some kind of like collaborative effort. Some of them haven't really responded to me, which is understandable. I mean, it's kind of like a COVID world right now, so we all have to kind of figure our ways around that. But that's definitely something I'm looking into for sure.
Right. I mean, that's all great that you're figuring all that stuff, that you're reinventing yourself during this time period. But as a performer, we want to perform live. I mean, I started thinking about it. I don't understand why wrestlers are going back now. Wait, I don't know about these athletes going back. Let's wait. But everyone's like eager. Well, 2021. That's all I have to say is 2021. But it's great to perform online because you're going to give them that opportunity. And so you're performing all these songs yourself then. Like,
unfortunately. So that's yeah. I mean, I am performing it. I do like sometimes set up backing tracks where I have like a drum track, a bass track, like a full instrumentation.
So you don't have your band. It's you, just yourself.
It's just me.
One man show.
I love
Pretty much. It's I feel it's more intimate that way. Like if I could have them, you know, obviously I'd do that. And we're actually in talks with somebody who's a producer in the area about setting up some. I guess this is breaking news for you guys. We're trying to figure out a way to have have a multi-camera, multi-audio channel kind of production where we can literally film kind of like a concert film of us playing our originals and covers, and just literally as a band again, because like I haven't jammed with my band since January, which is insane.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, we're definitely looking into ways of I guess broadcasting and live streaming with the whole band, as a whole band, with a full drum kit, full bass set, keys, synths, guitar, vocals, like a full production. So we're definitely looking into that. But as you can imagine, like it took me quite a bit. This is like every week, every episode, it's kind of getting better and better in terms of the quality, because I'm just one guy. But with that, there's more moving parts, but there's thankfully more hands sort of helping out. Right. So it's an involved process for sure.
So if you need a connection for charities, well, first of all, I think, you know, one that comes to my mind because of the story and part of your band is definitely, you know, something to do with suicide prevention. I think would be really cool. But if you need a connection or anything, I know a charity here myself I can hook you up with. So, and I know for a fact that they would be all over anything they can do to raise money. They do stuff for foster and adoptive kids. So, but you know,
yeah, please.
Yeah, so definitely get you hooked up.
Hell yeah. Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's all about connecting. I got to put that as a quote for myself. All about connecting.
Yeah.
But it's because the connections are the way we work, and we work together in so many ways. And at one point when COVID's over, I'm sure Jen wants you to come to Tampa.
Let's go.
Yeah, in Clearwater. That's where my studio is.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Do you do music as well?
I'm renovating a building. I have my model next to me. I just found the people that are going to do it. I hired them. They're going to start in 2 weeks. So let me put this. It's a 3D dimensional. It's like 9,000 square feet, 8,000.
Wow. That's like a mini Paisley Park.
It is. It is. See? And
That's
then,
very cool.
Upstairs is a flight school and a medical, but we're going to be renting it out. And then downstairs is offices, and then this whole thing is wide open. And about right there is going to be my studio. So
Wow.
I can podcast. I want to get some equipment so I can have my music there too. I did a spoof like Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah.
This thing called Toilet Paper Lines. And I did it like Madonna. I had toilet paper, like one of my friends, you know how creatives are, right?
Yeah.
So my girlfriend called me and she wanted to go to the grocery store at 6 to get toilet paper. This is before I knew there was a shortage, Rave.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, you know, and I said, I could be ready in 2 hours. And she said, no, tomorrow morning. And I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you? Getting toilet paper.
Yeah.
And then she told me there's hoarders in line and, you know, she doesn't have any. And I'm like, no, I'm not getting up and getting toilet paper. So I mean, I couldn't fathom it. And it turned out her husband was hoarding underneath the guest bath. So I said, this is the new gangster, 2 double ply 6-pack, you know, 12-pack. And I got so pissed off, I had to do something about it. So I made a music video. I caught my chandelier on fire because I put toilet paper hanging down from my
Oh my goodness.
So
is this video up?
Yeah.
I would love to see this.
It's called Toilet Paper Lines. So so I did it like Madonna.
Wow.
And I started asking around for props and I was kind of surprised. I'm like, I need like one of those necklaces people wear, like and I want to be like BDSM or something. And then everybody's like, here. And I'm like, oh shit.
That's awesome.
That was my spoof. And I want to do another one because it kills me that if you're in the grocery store, somebody sneezes, it's coming into your aisle.
Yeah. Everybody
But that plastic guard between you and the cashier is going to save your life.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a good spoof. Yeah. Especially as tall as I am, that's not helping.
6 feet away, 6
Yikes.
feet away. So
Yeah.
I'm working on something else for COVID because I don't know what to do and it's driving me crazy. Like your bandmates, they're your mates, they're life, and not to be around people is I mean, I had art that went with it. Of bum prints that was going over, and
who's bum, if you don't mind my asking?
So they volunteers.
Very nice.
I know. I was given some artwork to go over my abstract emotionalism. So
very cool.
It's been an interesting time during COVID on everything coming together and Gratitude Radio Network having a home.
Yeah.
And being able to create in is, you know, and it's in Clearwater, so we're going to be right next to the beach.
Nice. Wow. That sounds like a pretty sweet setup.
A little sweet setup. Yeah. I just found all my flooring, so I'm excited. I'm really super happy.
Very cool.
That's going to be a good home. You're going to have to come down, Neil.
And I'm ready when we can travel again. Right.
Yeah.
Even the dummies that are traveling now, I'm not. No, you're not seeing me on a plane yet.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Why are we all doing these things? I mean, seriously.
I actually, sorry to interrupt, but I actually know somebody who went on vacation to Mexico like 3 weeks ago.
That's nuts. Why?
They actually sent videos of like how it's first of all, it's a completely empty resort. I don't know how you can have fun in an empty resort, but you like if you want to play ping pong, there are people there to clean the ping pong I don't know what they're called, rackets. Yeah. Before and after use. The pool is empty. It's just a very weird time.
How did they get people there? I thought we couldn't travel out of Mexico. I thought Mexico didn't want us in here.
This is before the travel ban.
Well, I heard somebody that's in Mexico right now, so I don't know how they got around. It's
wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I have no clue about that.
The Bahamas have cut us off now too.
No, you can't get Abaco.
So I have a question. I want to take us back to when you were younger. First of all, do you have any siblings?
I do. I have a younger brother.
And is he into music like you are?
He's a fan of music, but he doesn't create.
Gotcha. And did you grow up in New York, or where did you grow up?
So yeah, I was actually born in Russia, believe it or not. Well, technically, I was born in the former Soviet Union. Not to toot my own horn, but then my entire family, once the Soviet Union was falling apart, it was chaos. So they had to get out of there to, for their family's sake. And so we moved here in the 90s, and then I've been here ever since. I have no memory of the motherland, as it were. So I mean, I'm a Queens native pretty much my whole life.
Nice.
Awesome.
You're the new King of Queens.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I love that show. I'm a huge fan of that show.
It's a great show. It's a great show, yes.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good show.
I was able to interview one person from King of Queens, but I really want the top two, and not happen yet. It'll happen.
One day. Hell yeah.
Well, especially when events happen again. That'll be probably the easier way.
Right.
But again, Zoom, thanks to Zoom, I've had some really, really interesting, and I like this better. I like television, I like radio, but I like to repurpose it, because the ability to really talk to somebody in person, I believe this feels like in person. Far more than being on a phone call.
Yeah.
Than, getting to really see where they are at,
right,
where they are, their facial expressions. It really
exactly
helps. It helps.
100%.
Helps the connection.
I agree with that 100%.
So any other questions for him tonight? I have, I guess, the one, where do you see yourself as an independent artist? Do you want to get signed by a label? Everyone says yes, but what are your goals on all that?
That is so funny that you actually bring that up. I was actually talking to somebody. I know a few people who have had major record label experiences. And I was talking to one of my friends who when you're friends with somebody and they happen to be a musician and you're a musician, you don't really talk shop a lot. You just talk about life, like how's mom, how's dad, how's, friends and stuff. But when you talk shop, it sometimes is about the music, not the business side of things. So this one time I was just talking to her, and she had major record label experience and all that. And without getting into the specifics, what I took from that conversation was that they kind of didn't know what to do with her. And then I just started looking into this a little bit more in terms of like other people I know who have either had major record label or like smaller independent label experiences. The sort of crux of the issue with regards to why they weren't able to sort of capitalize on any kind of movement or momentum in their career is because the record label doesn't know what to do with you. They don't know necessarily how to market you. They don't understand your message. If they do, they kind of try to make it a little bit kitschy so that it could fit into a box a little bit more. Right. I was actually talking to somebody yesterday, somebody who told me, what's weird about you is that they're telling this to me. They go, you have like a death metal energy to you, but you sing Whitney Houston. And I'm like, that's interesting, I guess. Because like I do have like a sort of like, especially like guys, I want to emphasize, I never have a beard. This is just a weird time. So I figured I might as well try it out now, because I might never have another beard again forever. So I figured, thank you, I appreciate that. But yeah, so like apparently I do have this apparently, and I guess with a name like Spells and Curses, you're kind of asking for to be perceived in like a darker way, and there is a certain element of that. I mean, I do think I take sort of whatever dark energies I have and put it into the music so that I'm not boggled down by it in my real life. I do think there's something to that, but I also think it is kind of important that if you do sign with a major record label, they have to understand you, and they have to understand your vision, and they have to understand how you want that vision to be communicated to people, and how you want it to be expressed. And I would have to feel confident in the team that I'm working with or about to make an agreement with, that they would know how to either represent me or how to help me attain my goals. It's the exact same thing. Neil, you're going to like this. It's the exact same thing why I think certain independent wrestlers will not sign with Vince McMahon, because they see. Should we name names? Is it okay? Do you think?
You can.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, Ricochet. You're familiar with Ricochet?
Yes.
Fantastic talent. Not the greatest guy on the stick, but a fantastic talent.
Yes.
He was pushed in a certain way in other companies because they can see that he has a star quality around him and they could build him up. and he can be a guy, not the guy maybe, but a guy, a top guy. And in the beginning in NXT, he was coming up that way. And then once he got pushed to the main roster, it seemed like they were kind of having him come up the ranks that way. And then all of a sudden, he's now kind of relegated to this like supporting, jokey kind of role. And it's like, you don't understand the sort of like almost once in a lifetime talent in terms of just athletics that you have in this one guy. And just because he doesn't fit the mold of what one person or one gatekeeper thinks he is or what he can be, a lot of people, and this is something that Carl Anderson and what's his partner? Luke Gallows.
The guys, they're going to AEW. Correct.
They said that they regret when AEW was just starting. They said, we kind of regret not going to AEW when it was about to start, because we could have made a special moment happen and be a part of some kind of history. Instead, we took the bigger check with the guys who promised to handle us really well. They took the check, and they have families, so you can't judge them for that. But they took the check and they stayed on the bigger brand that didn't understand them and their message to sort of build them up as talent. Whereas if they went to AEW, where it seems as though it's a bit more democratized. I mean, ask Dean Ambrose, John Moxley. Like, it seems like they will let you push you.
Be your character.
Exactly.
But what you don't know is the mainstream going to happen. We don't know if AEW is going to be a success long term.
Right, but then that brings to a question. Another thing is like the artistic fulfillment of it, right? Because these are artists. They tell a story with their bodies, and so you look at some of these people. Sami Zayn, another guy. He's not wrestling anymore. He's a manager. Because why? And a lot of people believe, and I'm of this camp as well, who believe that it's because when you're in the grind of the bigger system. And I love WWE. Don't get me wrong. I love it.
You're in the machine, man.
If you're in the machine says you have to go through the grinds to be this guy. And if you can't be this guy, we're going to push you to this other role. But if this other role isn't who this person resonates with, you're having him play a role that he doesn't believe in. He's not going to be as...
That's what happens in acting sometimes, a lot of times.
Exactly. People get typecast. And so it's just what I'm trying to... You can see I could talk about this all day, but what I'm trying to essentially get at is like it's important for me to sort of have like a creative control of what I say, how I convey my message, how I am able to interact with my supporters or anybody. It's important for me not to have words be put in my mouth that I don't believe in. So if I were to ever sign with a major record label or any record label, it would be with that understanding that I should have the final say. Right. Do you know what I mean?
And that's where you have to have the right agent, because the right agent is going to make sure you get that deal or not.
Yeah.
Now Jen is ready to close this out with either a gratitude question, and I know then you finishing up. So go ahead, Jen.
Wow. Well, I think Rave already gave us our gratitude question the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole story. So
my favorite line that you said, Rave, and I want to put this out there. There is bravery in living.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's my favorite quote. It reminds me of something from The Outlaw of Josie Wales. It's something Clint Eastwood would say, that there is bravery in living through COVID and not letting it get to you. Yeah. And I love that message that you gave us, and the fact that it's in your songs with abstract emotionalism. I take that, I peel it off of me, and I literally throw it on the canvas.
Right. Yeah.
Like I throw paint on the canvas and let it all out. And some of my artwork is dark, and then other people see it as, oh, it looks like you're underwater and you're looking up at it. Okay.
That's the beauty of art.
Oh, there's a huge skull there, and I'm like, yeah, well, it's pain.
Right.
And so it's kind of funny that you do the same thing in music, because we have to get it off of us somehow.
Yeah. It's not good to hold that stuff in. Yeah.
You can't hold it in, and it doesn't mean you're dark or your music's dark. It's just a part of. If we didn't have the contrast and everything was bright white, we still wouldn't be able to see.
It's a part of the human experience, for sure.
The human experience. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you. That was very nicely put.
Yeah.
And where can we find info on you?
You can find me on all social medias at Spells and Curses. I was able to grab that real estate very quickly. It's not Spells and Curses music. Yeah, not Spells and Curses official, just Spells and Curses.
All right.
Nice.
Yes.
What is a good song that they can open with? that we can send our.
The one that seems to be getting the most traction is called "Wicked for Days," and it's just a song about. It's a kind of a sad song about being in a toxic relationship and just totally giving into it, not resisting it. It's kind of like a surrender to a not ideal situation. It's called "Wicked for Days." Listen to it, and that seems to be the one that speaks to the most people in terms of people who reach out to me.
Nice. Well, I can't wait for everyone to listen to it.
Thank you.
Wicked for Days by the Rave.
It's by Spells and Curses, but yes, the
Spells
Rave.
and Curses. Yeah, well,
You know.
You wrote it. You wrote it.
Well, okay, I did.
There he goes, and he's ready to hit the pro wrestling ranks. So, again, this was a great broadcast. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you, Jen Mogg. Thank you, Pearl Sharenza. And Jen, you always have to say,
remember, you are loved, you are blessed, and you are sacred. Mwah. Have a beautiful day.
All right. Hey, was that not so much fun? What a cool person to have on for our first male, right? He was so awesome.
He is adorable, and I love his message. I love his energy. He's really cool, creative, and I can't wait tonight to be on his show or to be a part of the COVID dance off.
Quarantine Night Live.
Quarantine Night Live.
Yes.
With
and
the Rave.
What a cool, like I was telling him, Spells and Curses. I mean, you go into looking at the band thinking, oh, it's going to be heavy metal or whatever. And his music is just so much fun. And very empowering. So I'm so excited. That was really awesome. What a great show.
He's a really good person.
Very down to earth.
Very great message. He's extremely creative. To be in New York and going through COVID, he went through it himself. He has a great support system with his family.
Yeah.
And
and what a story. I mean, he's the American story too. Comes over here from another country, Russia, or former Soviet Union, and all that, and he's come over here and look what he's doing. He's an example of how to come to America and live that dream. You would go after your dream. Don't hold anything back.
He's making it, you know. And I think a lot of people take it, as we always say, with Americans, we take it for granted what people don't have in other countries.
Yep, definitely.
And to be able to bring that into his music. And what I mean by that is his emotions. For him, his music is like abstract emotionalism. It's for me, because he's putting all of his emotions and darkness and light and the contrast in his music so that everybody can understand it. And it has that dimension and that depth. And you wouldn't expect a name like Spells and Curses
to
have so much depth.
So much that
kind of pop-like in a way.
And also so much, I mean, we talk about gratitude this all the time, but he has such gratitude as well for what he's come through, for the valleys and everything. So
amount of gratitude.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I love it. Good going, Neil. Thumbs
Yay.
up. Thumbs up.
Yes, definitely. All right, so Jen, what do we have? What's this week coming up? Anything new that you're doing?
Just new that I'm doing.
Getting the building situated. Yep. So getting that building situated. That's going to be amazing.
Getting my building situated has taken up a lot of time, which is great. And I've got some new things that I'm working on.
Yep.
I have a lot of family time this week.
Good job.
That's my happy place.
That's all part of the self-care, right? You got to take care of yourself, enjoy the family.
Self-care. Yep. And one thing that I've been doing during COVID is the remnants. I think COVID brings up a lot in our own lives by being sheltering in place, right?
Right.
And I think I've said like 3 times during the show how loud the silence is and being in this place, because it is. It's very loud for me, and I miss people, and I miss going out, and just, I'm in Gasparilla. I'm used to being in crowds of people, either throwing the beads or being in the crowds and
Right.
being on the floats and being in our parade season. That would be going on right now, and it's not.
No.
And I don't know if next year we will have
A Gasparillo.
Gasparilla, because no one's going to be wearing a mask because it's a drunken mess. I mean,
Yep.
it is what it is, right? A bunch of pirates enter the city, take the mayor hostage, and there's a big parade. It's like Mardi Gras, but for us, it's with pirates.
Right.
And everybody's in their boats, and it's so much fun. I love my parades at night. I love my night parades. I love my pride parades. St. Patrick's Day. I mean, just name all the holidays that we've had this year, and there's a parade for it, and then some.
Yep.
You don't get to do that anymore. And all of those businesses that were counting on hundreds and thousands of people coming in, it's sad to go through my city and see so much gone.
I know, it really is. It really is. I know that it's kind of like part of we're all going through this valley right now, and I really feel. I think when we come out of this, I think there'll be a lot new. I'm hoping there'll be a lot new appreciation for what we have.
Right.
And
Right.
to take care of it.
We have
Right.
everything we need.
Yeah.
I'm cleaning out. I cleaned out my laundry room, which
Oh wow.
needs to be redone.
That's awesome.
And I need. It's the rafters are there, and I need a ceiling put in, and I want to get things put together in my porch, my laundry room, and my garage. Those are the three places that haven't been renovated, with my house being from 1950. So I've been cleaning out, and then I'm amazed at how much I have.
Yep.
Like, I said I wanted to do wine bottles, right? Paint wine bottles. I swear to God, somebody gave me like a wine store. I've got so many wine bottles.
So I think you need to start painting, right? Some wine bottles.
And I'm like, who the heck am I going to give all these wine bottles to now? So I'm looking online for crafts that I can do more with wine bottles, because
Oh, that's cool.
I'm rolling them in my artwork, so that when the artwork, you have a piece, the wine bottles go with it. But
I love it.
It's funny. I wanted to get the machine that you make the wine bottle in half and you can use it for a glass.
Oh, right.
Girl, I got enough projects happening.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't overwhelm yourself. Not at all.
No,
so.
But I ask for canvases, and canvases show up. I say I need paint. I got 10 paint cans.
Yay.
It's awesome how things manifest like that. And I've just kept saying, keep going, keep manifesting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So I'm not trying to get scared, because that sabotages everything. When you're talking about the law of attraction, and
right,
manifesting something that's huge. And I didn't know it was going to be that big at all. But when you manifest, you can't have fear in it. That's when everything goes, because you have to let it go.
Right.
Let it just be, and not even think about it.
Absolutely.
So when I said I needed money, one of my friends out of the blue came over and said, "Hey, have you gotten your unemployment yet?" And I'm like, "I can't get through the website." And it was just one of those things, like,
right,
I can't get through the website. It keeps kicking me out. I'm waiting. Finally get in, trying to put stuff in. I don't know. And he goes, "We're doing it tomorrow, and I'll be there." And voila, I have it.
Yay.
It's been really, really good stuff like that. But it's the counter of it is sheltering in place, seeing stuff happening, and having gratitude during a time in everyone's life where it's so hard to, not have heartbreak for what's happening around you.
Yeah, I mean, it really is, and you have to appreciate, like we said earlier, like really appreciate what you have, and like enjoy what is around you, whether it's cleaning out your laundry room, whether it's painting, whatever it is, it gives you that peace of mind for that self-care. Absolutely. And nurture it. Yeah, and you got to nurture that self-care as well. So you have to.
People forget to be creative.
Yeah.
I mean, when we're born with creativity, we're born with it.
We all have some sort of talent. We need to put it to use.
We have it.
Yeah.
And so this has been, I think, a really cool time in everyone's life around the world to find that inner creativity.
Right.
Go with it and see how to use it and manifest it in their own life, and just be happy.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited. It's going to be a great weekend for me. I hope that everybody that was listening to this podcast today, definitely you're going to love, love, love him. And I'm so excited for, we've got great things upcoming. So, and new things we're going to be doing. So you guys listen in, and I'm going to say, remember, you need to do everything you can do to put yourself first so that you can find your authentic self and become your inner pearl of greatness, because you are
loved, blessed, and sacred.
Have a great day.
Have a